spectators can spot the difference. There you see the master cylinders being topped up with brake fluid. So Toyota with a brake problem. Prior to the race, there had been a rumour that the Achilles heel of the Toyota was actually the transmission. The gearbox was thought to be a little on the fragile side, but no problems thus far. And Toyota and Nissan mixed up, the great Japanese rivals, of course. This race only once won by a Japanese make. Of course, it was Mazda that did it, and there a problem for the Toyota, limping, and maybe that is the transmission problem starting to show. Concern in the pits there by Jörg Müller. Jörg Müller, the very fast German driver, who actually is driving for Porsche, of course, in the number 25 car, not for Toyota, and the 27 car drives into the garage, and that means that there is really big trouble. So the team will go to work. Can you see already the bodywork off? And so from being advantaged Toyota with Mercedes-Benz chasing, suddenly Porsche were looking so much stronger. Great shot down there at the end of the Mulsanne straight, the Mulsanne corner. And then this, one of the fastest sections of the course, accelerating away down towards the village of Arnage. This actually the road between the villages of Mulsanne and Arnage. The Toyota mechanics have done their job well. And the car returns back into the race. The 28 machine of Brundle Collard and Elleray. Indeed, that had some repairs to the gearbox. But the Toyota pits was becoming a very busy, unpopular place, as you can see from those shots. Meanwhile, the 25 Porsche of Jörg Müller, Uwe Alpsen and Bob Wallach. There is Norbert Singer, the engineering manager of the Porsche racing team, technical boss for many years. Michele Alboreto there checking his mirrors and seeing in it this garage, which was running remarkably strongly fitted with a Nissan engine. Garage switching back this year to Nissans, although a couple of the older cars are still running Porsches. And that's Wayne Gardner, the number 21, the American Indianapolis-built Riley and Scott with a Ford engine in the gravel. Wayne Gardner, the former 500cc motorcycle champion, making his Le Mans debut. And he spun a couple of times in qualifying. But there you see the car going again, but having to limp it back to the pits. Wayne Gardner also sharing that car with another motorcycle ace, Didier de Radigues, and its owner, Philippe Gache. But this was the lead garage. The number 13 car had been going very well indeed. Didier Cataz, Marc Goossens, and Jean-Philippe Belloc, the trio there. Marc Goossens, who now races Formula Nippon out in Japan at the wheel. More activity in the pits. More tyres go on. The 29 Toyota of Boutsen, Kelleners and Jeff Lees. And as inevitably happens here at Le Mans, the shadows just there starting to lengthen as a bright afternoon turns into a bright evening. Oh, you just catch a glimpse of the bright green helmet of Henri Pescarolo, his 32nd Le Mans. The great French driver also leads the Lafiliere team, and after 5 hours, Toyota and Porsche separated by less than a second, and then just 11 seconds behind the second of the Porsches. What a motor race! Le Mans is living up to all its expectations. Well, Mercedes may have gone, but nevertheless, there is a battle royal between Toyota and Porsche. There's the 51 Viper, and there's the Private Chamberlain team car, been spun into the gravel here. Number 56 car rotates on the brakes, one of the older Vipers, run by Hugh Chamberlain, a British enthusiast who just loves Le Mans and comes back with the team every year. But this was the car which had been leading the GT2 category, the 64 car. The only lady in the race, Claudia Hurtgen, Michel Ligonnès, and the British driver, Robert Nairn. There is the 13 Courage, certainly going very strongly, and a Toyota is stopped. Has it spun? Yes, an indiscretion from the Toyota. And looks to me as if that's it, actually in the pit road, and just coming into the pits too hot, the 28 car, and finishes up in the barriers. And Martin Brundle will not be impressed with that at all. And out climbs Eric Hellery after something of a wild ride. Just an onboard shot. You see how narrow the strip is that the drivers look through. And problems there for the Kramer Porsche, whose history really chases back to the lovely 962s and 956 Porsches from almost 15 years ago, which used to dominate this race. But a big spin there for the Kramer Porsche, the FAT International back car. And of course a scare too for the 28. That's Xavier Pompidou at the wheel of the spinner. The Toyota goes past the Mr. Bibendum hot air balloon. Of course, at Le Mans, the race is always good, but there's many other attractions. There's Jörg Müller having just finished his stint for Porsche. The Elf La Filière Courage, the 15 car. And let's just see a replay here of that running wide. Actually going through the gravel, and the driver there, Franck Montagny, the current leader of the French Formula 3 Championship, and actually at 20, the youngest man in the race. We see it again, the gravel flies, and whoa, coming back on the track right in front of that Toyota. There's the Deborah, the only car in the LMP2 category. Michele Alboreto takes the Porsche out, but big disappointment from the Yost team. They just couldn't get a good balance with either of their cars. So by evening, Mercedes-Benz were out, BMW were out, and in fact the leading sports prototype was the Courage with its Nissan engine. Belloc there at the wheel, Jean-Philippe Belloc. Get a good view from up there. And again, you see the brakes starting to glow red. All these cars running carbon fiber brakes. Technology which is also used on the TGV. And what do we got here? We got a Porsche in trouble. I think it's the 7 car. Yes, it is. The 7 sports prototype getting back up to speed, chasing the Nissan. And one of the surprises of the race was the relative, and I do say relative, lack of speed of the Nissans. Were they playing a waiting game? And we've got the number 44 Paynos having a big moment. Eric Bernard, Christophe Tinsu, and Johnny O'Connell driving that car with the Ford V8 engine, the Reynard design chassis. Of course, Paynos had come to the test with the hybrid car, but yes, the number 7 car pulling off. And I thought it had a moment, but there's actually that's the back of Reinhold Jost there, and Alboreto, I think it is, at the wheel, and that looks pretty terminal. Oh, look at that shot! The brakes really bright cherry red there. That's the hardest braking point. You come over that rise just like that, and slam on the anchors into that right-hand curve, and look at that spectacular sight. A light and flame show there from the Toyota. That's one of the things that spectators come to see here at Le Mans. Spectacular stuff. And just look how the track lights up from those flames. Of course, extra fuel being pumped through the engine. TTE, Team Toyota Europe on the rear wing. Stefan Johansson discussing the situation there with Henri Raffanel, and it looks as if that's fairly final. Indeed, the radio crackling away that the engine has stopped, probably with electrical problems, but no problems for the GT1 Porsches. Norbert Singer considers the situation